I love that. So
it's like time's just on our side.
Time. Well, so it's funny. I was actually just watching randomly like a clip from Shark Tank. Also, let's start from an intro. So I would say welcome back, but this is our first inaugural podcast in the vault.
So cool.
Yeah,
huh?
in the bank. So we are at our official new office, our new headquarters in St. Augustine. We are at 3570 A1A South. I am sitting here with none other than the namesake of the company, DJ De La Sala, and we are in the new office in the bank in the old vault. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. Obviously, first vault I've actually ever been in.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah.
So anything better than podcasting with 3 feet of concrete surrounding you?
Yeah,
And,
right. I think this is arguably the safest place on the island now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Like tornado, anything like that, hurricane, although flooding, but this thing is just...
Well, it's been like 75 and sunny for the last like 2 weeks. Here,
right. We've had incredible weather. So if you are in Florida, I'm sure you're enjoying it too, but we have been having this like incredible, like California, low humidity, like cool mornings, cool evenings, and just like beautiful sunshine all day.
That's why it's so easy to sell real estate in North Florida.
Right.
We actually get seasons like
Yeah.
spring, fall, summer, even summer, like July and August get a little bit hot.
Right.
But we always have the easterly sea breeze. And so it's kind of offsets it. I think there was only like 3 years ago where you couldn't actually like play golf in the summer, but spring, fall.
Right. Incredible.
Doesn't get better than
Yeah.
North Florida.
So it's funny. I was just home. Shout out to myself. I was just home. I was inducted into my high school's Hall of Fame. And I was talking to
I
one
wanted
of the
to
old
give
coaches.
you that plug, but you had to plug yourself.
Well, I just
I was really proud of you.
self plug. I appreciate that. But anyway, I was talking to one of the coaches who was there, who had a bunch of players inducted. She's legendary, but she was asking like, oh, like why is, because I was just talking how I love Florida. Like,
Yeah.
I'll never move back. And she's like, why is it so great? And I literally explained that. I'm like, so anything north of Lake Okeechobee, you do get a seasonal change. South of it, it's basically all the same season, right? You'll maybe get a cold spout when everyone's getting a cold spout. But I'm like, it's just like a different vibe because we get the seasonal change. So it's like such a rare thing for Florida to get all the tax incentives, all the other things, but still get seasonal change.
Pretty awesome.
Yeah, which is great. But we are starting new, starting fresh. We are in the bank, whole new series coming. We're going to obviously talk to you. We're going to talk to Lindsey. We're going to talk to some of these agents. But our goal is going to be to unpack this new, I want to call it new age in real estate. But if you ask you're like, it's something that should have been happening this whole time.
Yeah.
And it's really just holding the agents accountable for the work and the value they should be providing.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I mean, I speak about it a lot on, whether I'm speaking on stage at an event, whether I'm speaking to this company. Customers deserve really good customer service, and now with the NAR settlement looming right now,
Right.
and having to discuss fees and what your value is and what you're going to charge people, now it's like at the front of the limelight right now, and it's an exciting time.
So I've been in real estate. I'm not licensed, but I've been in real estate probably close to 10 years now, just from a marketing side. But we linked up in 2020. Since 2020, it's been 4 years. It just felt like we've gone through probably like 4 generational changes of the industry between the COVID market, the boom, Zillow offers this giant wholesale home buyers push. And now we're moving into this. It's like, is real estate an industry that everybody should try their hand at, or it is only built for the strong?
Here's what I've always thought. If you have a strong work ethic, if you're willing to be coached, if you're willing to learn, absorb, and just really try to retain as much as possible, you could definitely succeed in this industry. Mm-hmm. The problem is, over the years, it's been so sensationalized through the media and TV shows that it's an easy game. But if you really watch some of these shows and watch them negotiating in people's houses, it's a hard game. It's always been that. Typically a transaction will be about 50 emails, about 250 phone calls, and everything in between. And it's not for the faint of heart. It's never been for the faint of heart.
Sure.
I mean, just, and for somebody like myself going on this is my 18th year in real estate. I've always took that weight on my shoulders that I am responsible for their largest asset purchase or sale in their life. I
Definitely
need to do
stressful.
an awesome job. I want to make them the most money. I want to get repeat business. And we've been able to scale that over the last, 11 years pretty well. And I'm super excited to just continue that path forward on providing excellent customer service, providing value to everybody in our industry as much as possible, and just educating everybody. So
Yeah.
it's an exciting new time.
Well, and you brought up a good point there, was talking about how a large portion of the actual value is negotiation and the actual deal itself. And because Zillow just rolled out some news, I don't know people, but we've always, and Lindsey says it, we've always shown houses for free, right? You show houses for free. That's not what pays the bills. It's the knowledge in order to write and ink the deal and get it done for your customers is where your value really comes from.
Well, that's where the turning of the tides has really come, and how we've separated ourselves from our competition. See, a lot of agents think that the customer should work on their time. And when you look at everything that's evolved over the last 10 years with everything from Ubers to Netflix and everything,
DoorDash,
everything getting delivered right away. And I know we've spoke about this, but this is really right now that agents say they want to meet a person, pre-qualify them, make sure they're going to buy. And that's just asking for so much up front when you don't even have a two-way relationship with that person. Now, if it's your sphere and you want to maybe meet them at a coffee shop and you've known this person from church for a long time and you want to go over that's
Totally different. Yeah.
However, 98% of the consumers right now are online, and with agents out there right now, they're trying to say, hey, I'm scared of this whole Zillow thing. I don't want to go meet a customer at the property without being compensated. Like, that's been our job since the eternity of real estate, is like,
Right.
We show property. We don't get paid till the commission happens, till the sale, closes. So we've essentially always been working for that commission, and it's again, not for the faint of heart.
Yeah. And I think obviously it's a strong lift on the buyer side, because a majority of the agents, it's not really easy to just get listings, right? And now every coach, every platform, everybody's pushing like, oh, this is the best way you're going to get listings. I have a foolproof way of getting listings. And we, you being 18 years, me being just, south of 10 years, it's for sure not easy, but we figured out a way to talk to the customer to get them to understand it. And it's exactly what you're saying. It's literally being available for somebody, answering questions when they are ready to have that conversation. It's really hard to push your agenda onto somebody and then have it go well.
Like right now, we're averaging between 15 and 20 listing opportunities per day of people raising their hand. So they're anywhere from three months to 3 years out. And that nurture game right now is super important, because you have people right now from COVID and 2.5% interest rates. Sure. And then you have people that, are always going to sell, whether it be death, relocation, divorce. So you have all of these different intrinsic things that happen in people's lives that are always going to happen, unfortunately. And, fortunately for, if it's a relocation and you're making a bunch of money in a new job, that's exciting. The latter is, obviously not. Right. However, by gaining those opportunities, and when the interest rates do come down and that move does make sense, this 245,000 person database that we have, I think, is aligned really well for not only just the buyers in the future, but the listings in the future as well. So everything we're doing right now to kind of set ourselves up, not just for today, but the next 5 years, is something I'm really excited about. And for our agents, because, everything we preach here is about stability and taking care of our agents so they understand what their next 3, 6, 9 months looks like.
Right.
By continuing this process of doubling down on our advertising and marketing and all of our pillars of leads coming in, I've never felt better than I do right now.
Yeah. How many people do you think, obviously this is a business where you do need to see around the corner, and that's the value that you bring massively to, this group of agents and this entire company, is being able to see from a 10,000 foot view, or like some say, see around the corner. I mean, how many do you think everyday agents are literally looking 5 years ahead? Or they, in my observation of people from outside this company, they are like very literally trying to grasp at any and all opportunity that they can.
Well, let's just call a spade a spade. Transaction count is down when you look at it overall year over year. If you look at a lot of companies right now, if you look at the real estate, the big boys that are publicly traded, their stocks down. I mean, it's a very, hard time in real estate, when you do have interest rates and you do have all of these constraints with the market right now. Inventory crisis might go on for another decade. Mm-hmm. So I think, unfortunately, for somebody that is an individual out there just trying to swim upstream by themselves right now, it's pretty tough. They're just trying to make ends meet right now. So right. I think they can't look towards the future because they have to feed their families. They have to do what they need to do right now to survive. And for me, fortunately we've prepared for this situation. We're prepared, and mm-hmm. So by seeing around the corner, it's helping companies like us that are stable and willing to take risk at right. inopportune times, and hopefully it pays off. And my crystal ball over here, if you see it over here, I've been predicting this for a long time. I've been saying that you needed a stable lead list, you needed stable customers, you needed a stable past customer list, and you always need to be adding to the top of that funnel. And a lot of people were like, oh, you have so many people right now. There's so many transactions happening during COVID. People are buying houses sight unseen, sight unseen all of the time.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, okay, but that's going to come to an end. Everything does. We're in an election cycle right now, and mm-hmm. and there's just so much uncertainty. But when I talk about a crystal ball and everything, it's just always predicting and seeing what the trends are in real estate, and it's cyclical like anything else.
Right.
And with the amount of money that's been printed over the last 5 years, it's an uncertain time in all aspects of the finance world.
Yeah. No, we definitely are in this silent minor recession where a lot of people are looking at their personal finances, because some people do think that they need to physically change their location or just shake it up to make a move to change their own life. And we always get it's Florida. People are always moving to Florida. It's like, okay, that's great. How many people inside your sphere are probably going to tell you, hey, my friend from wherever mm-hmm. is looking to come to Florida? Or are they going to use an online portal and they're going to land here?
Well, not only that, you're going to start doing your research, and mm-hmm. Understanding that commissions have, been paid buyer seller. It's always been a thing. Mm-hmm. What is transpiring right now is, in a low inventory market, who gets off market properties, or right. who gets access to working with the agents, with our reputation and everything that we've been able to build through our agent community. We're carrying over 100 listings. Like I said, we have 15 to 20 opportunities coming in every day. These are people that are starting to sort of raise their hand.
Sure.
So being able to work with the buyer, we're kind of seeing the market, 6, 9, 12 months ahead of time. Not only that, if you're looking for a property in a certain neighborhood, there's a good chance I have 5 to 7 sellers that are probably, willing to sell at the right price. And so I think that gives us a unique advantage for our buyer pool, that we understand what's going on in every neighborhood. Do we know everything? No, but I'm pretty sure we have one of the largest strongholds on what's going on in the market.
Yeah, it's funny. So yesterday I was actually helping our director of sales, Brett Moreland. We were looking in the MLS, and he wanted to know how many homes we sold in a specific community. And I honestly should have looked up how many homes were even in the community, probably via tax record, but it just didn't even occur to me. But it was like 43 houses inside of a community we've already sold. Mm-hmm. So then I'm like, I don't even do you need to do a listing presentation at that point? Or do you just run a list for a seller and you're just like, so Mr. and Mrs. Seller, of the, let's even say 300 homes, I've sold 43 of them. Mm-hmm. What else do you want to know?
And that's the thing. It's like the consumer's going to continue to get educated on that. Like right. We just put a listing in my neighborhood came live. $1.4 million. We brought the buyer 24 hours later. We already knew we had the buyer pool. That's just one example of many, that if we literally have a buyer for every neighborhood from Amelia Island all the way down to Ormond Beach. And easily. If I'm a seller, I'm looking for, that insight of what they're willing to pay. And for me not to, obviously I want to sit in every living room. I want our
sure.
group to sit in every living room to educate them on that. But it keeps happening, and we keep taking, little bits and pieces of every neighborhood market share. And I'm excited for the future.
Yeah. And I think something that is pretty unique, because we are carrying over 100 listings, and probably, and then some, but for such a smaller sized organization. We're not a large company that has multiple franchises that you can have an office here, an office here. And we're not that model where we're just like, let's be everywhere, right? We're super niche. We're super careful of the talent we work with. We're super careful with the experience we bring, that it doesn't get diluted at all. And I think that's a huge thing when everybody sees like, oh, these numbers are huge, they're not going to receive the same experience. I mean, it's pretty wild. I mean, I remember when we first hired JoJo, our photographer, she's great. She was doing tasks and we had tasks like, okay, hey, you're going to go shoot this house. Then you're going to, and we're still, you got to remember, coming through this COVID market. Now this girl has 3 shoots a day, every day.
Yeah. It's
3
exciting.
listing shoots a day.
And, kind of circle back to what you were saying. I think it's so important when you talk about seeing around the corner in the future. I mean, we were steadfast growth path of like expansion all through Florida. Opened a South Florida office, had about 20 agents down there. Still have a few agents that are working and working some of our opportunities down there. We have so many different referrals because we get so many inbound leads that we're able to refer to our agents down there, which is phenomenal. But I started to see the writing on the wall that, all right, to be amazing and to be the best we can be, we have to focus on this area. We have all of our marketing. We have everything that we've built right here. We have all of our leadership, all of our marketing, all of our staff. We are in North Florida. And when we sold $1 billion, we only had 1% of the market share. That means there's a ton more market share out there. So we shifted our path of like, all right, we're going to do this monumental growth and be the next, largest franchisee. And I'm like, you know what? I want to focus. And I want to give everybody the best experience possible in North Florida here, because I am here. Lindsey's here. Todd, Matt, we have everybody here. And now hopefully I do feel like it was a good pivot.
Sure.
Because right now, I think the people that are deep in their area the most, in a broad sense too, everyone wants to talk about farming in certain neighborhoods. Whoever's deep on this broad level right now in a certain demographic or geographical area, I think is going to dominate over the next 5 years. And I've always talked about that, because if you're only focused on a small area, regionally, there's only a certain amount of turnover that's going to happen.
Right, absolutely.
And so I'm excited for what path we've taken.
And on those numbers too, so we were working with Lindsey yesterday, Matt and I were working with Lindsey yesterday, and we were putting together this really cool tool that basically looks in our database when you put your address in there, and then based on the information you give it, it will give you a pretty rough number of the qualified buyers we have in our system.
Yeah.
So like you're almost in real time seeing, you're like, oh wow, like there's that many people interested. It's like, yeah, there are people interested. The problem is that the people you might be working with have zero relationship, have zero way to meet or reach those people. And it's like, well, they must have somebody in their office. They're the largest company, in America. And it's like, they don't know each other.
Yeah.
Like, think about how many, pick any big box brokerage. How many other agents from that brokerage do you know on hand? I guarantee you it's probably the same number of agents we have, but do you guys have an internal dialogue or communication system where you're constantly making sure that everyone's aware of your listings, or everyone's aware of you have a buyer looking in this neighborhood? I mean, I can probably count on over 2 hands, I would say, on the situations where we've had people who off-market deals happen because we have a listing coming to market. They've pre-marketed it to our company, not even their own data, just our company. And we've already found buyers that are like, yes, I want to go see that house. Pre anything, hey, let's do any of this. Like, let's take a look at this house. It's pretty unique. It's not an easy thing to set up shop in 2 days.
Like seriously, if I'm a seller, I'm going to go to the company that I know has 250,000 people in a region in their database, because they know what the buyer is thinking at that time. You might not want to hear that we have 14 buyers in your neighborhood and they only want to pay X per square foot. However, I can almost guarantee within, a 3% ratio that sale price is going to be right there, just because we understand what's going on in that market and what the buyer is thinking constantly. And it gives us a huge advantage over our competition. So if you're a seller out there thinking about selling, all we want is an opportunity to talk to you about what your list price can be and how we can help you and why we have over, 2,000 5-star reviews. I think it's so important to be as educated as possible on who you're working with right now. I'm talking with agents in our office agents on the list side right now. We gave somebody a full price offer, $895,000, as clean as could get. Agent hasn't responded in 48 hours. Could you imagine being that person on the sales side of that listing and or they don't know and they're clueless. I don't know if it's been presented, and it's just in a higher interest rate environment in an election year with stocks, there's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah.
We have a full price offer sitting there for 48 hours and it's still not executed. And is that the norm? I mean, I'm not saying it's not, the norm, but I think it's definitely a blip in the radar.
It sounds like a massive disservice.
Yeah.
Other than that, what is the value you are providing? I guess other than just the number, hey, we should list at this. I'm like, what's the actual value you're bringing? It's pretty wild. But you brought up a good point. I wanted to kind of transition here anyway, because you're talking about all these other factors, election year, high interest, all this other stuff. I want to shift gears for investing. And here's what I mean by that. I'm like, everyone's like, oh, it's a terrible time to invest. Terrible time. You're constantly buying real estate regardless. If the deal's right, the deal's right. How important is it to not just show up to a market with cash in hand and just start throwing around like I'm an investor? How important is it to find somebody who actually knows the I guess we'll call it the microeconomics of where you need to buy?
And I think that's a great point. I think having sold real estate in this area for so long, specifically my investments are in St. Augustine Beach in 32080. I've sold real estate here for 18 years. I've again watched the market and watched what's happening. I've watched what's appreciating, what's not appreciating. So last year we started Adira Capital for this very reason. Is in a high interest rate environment right now, it's hard to get a cap rate that makes sense for a lot of people, whether it's condos, Airbnbs, long-term rentals, new construction. The numbers are very tight because of the higher interest rates for investment properties. Mm-hmm. So we're creating right now, and we have a project that we're about to launch, 32 units, 2-bedroom, 1-bath in St. Augustine Beach, that we're projecting an IRR right now of over 17%. And because of our capital raise that we're going to do, possibly would refinance it in 5 years, but we're gonna pay for this as together. Everyone owns the LLC. We understand, because we also have $2 million worth of reservations, 75 properties that we're managing right now. Nobody knows this market better than we do right now, because of how much real estate we sell, the properties we manage, Lindsey's just incredible design aspect that brings to the table of what people are actually looking at for hotels and Airbnbs and things like that. So I've always said that people that invest in real estate really need to work with somebody very hyper local and that invest themselves. Right. I think I look at so many times that we have all of these people talking about, on Instagram or YouTube talking about investing in real estate. And I'm just like, okay, what's your portfolio look like? And they're like, well, I don't own any. So a lot of people are taking advice from people that don't actually invest in real estate themselves.
Right.
Or have a track record for the last 15 years, 10 years, like we have, whether it's flipping properties or buying Airbnbs, holding. So I think it's very important to work with somebody in a localized region that is actually walking the walk themselves.
Yeah. And the rarity that you do walk into and find somebody, professional who is just starting their career, and that's why they don't have any real estate in their portfolio, or they are actively maybe looking for opportunity. It's really hard that someone's going to be able to just pick up an investor, talk the talk, walk the walk, and then not have any of that, in their bag, so to speak, behind them. Because, we see, you made a great point. You see all these people are like, hey, this is how I made $15,000 a week, and it's by doing this. I'm like, dude, I could tell you exactly how you're going to make, how the movie industry works. Is it easy to do? Is it cheap to do? Do you have the capital to do it? That's the biggest problem that we see all the time. And that's what I wanted to kind of hear from you, which you answered great, was the fact that if you aren't actively practicing it, there's probably a reason for that. The likelihood that you're just like, oh, well, I just started last week.
I mean, it's so easy to play with other people's money if you don't know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think and that, again, goes back to why, I'm so excited about Adira Capital and our reputation. We're putting all of the investors first. We don't take any money out. We're investing 20% of our own capital into the project. We don't. Our management fees only based on the net profits on the returns for the nightly rents, quarterly on the sale of the property. And there's not a lot of management firms that are doing that. But I want to be so investor friendly that I want to put, I'm willing to put my reputation, what we've built, what our money, and put it to the test.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And if I'm not scared, you shouldn't be scared because it's hard. It's hard out there.
Right. If anybody wanted more information on Adira Capital, where could they go to find it?
Go to adiracapital.com. You can shoot me a DM. We have, again, this exciting project. We have a launch party coming up May 16th that I think is going to be incredible in our new office. We are looking for accredited investors. So
it's a legit operation, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
cannot just like walk in, hey, I got $3,000. Let's get into
this is a full blown.
Yeah.
It's SEC regulated, and it's an exciting thing, and I'm really excited for what this project is going to bring to our community as well. I'm just so excited. It's going to be so beautiful, and it's going to.
Yeah, I have seen the plans and the rendering. It's pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
it's
got a pickleball court. You gotta have a pickleball.
You have
court.
to. Well, and it's crazy. Again, back to I was home this past weekend, and again talking to just people who I haven't seen in a while, and everyone is playing pickleball.
Yeah.
I know we're shifting away from real estate, but everyone is playing pickleball. And I obviously just thought, okay, yes, I do see pickleball everywhere, but my Instagram feed, Facebook, super saturated with Florida people, beautiful weather all year round. Of course they're playing pickleball. The Northeast is rife with pickleball.
Dude, it's crazy. We got a pickleball facility that just opened.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
I'm about to really dive in. I got like a bucket list golf trip coming up, and after that, I just want to make sure the ACL, MCL make it to walk on these golf courses. But after that, I'm gonna be definitely lower to upper medium at pickleball.
Pickleball, really you're going all in. I mean, so obviously super avid, super gifted golfer, but pickleball seems to be the shift here, and with this weather, it's pretty wild, right?
Doesn't get any better.
Yeah, I know we discussed doing a pickleball facility, and with all the other projects you have going on, it's like it's one we'll talk ourselves through. We'll get through. We find the right opportunity. It presents itself. It'll be there. But I was shocked with the amount of people who that was their intro into the conversation of being in Florida was, what's the pickleball like? Is pickleball everywhere? I'm like, it's Florida. Of course, pickleball's everywhere.
Yeah, your thing.
Yeah, my timer went down.
Yeah, your timer went down. I do think it's important too. I've been talking a lot, and we're shifting back to the agent mindset of being successful and what it actually takes to be successful. And yesterday, I just hit, I think it was 300 workout on this app that I do. It's a personal training just an app that I pay for monthly, and a trainer from California builds my workout specifically geared towards me and, golf, and, I can talk to him, I message him. So it's been pretty cool. And yesterday I hit my 300th workout, and it gives you like how many calories you're burned and all of these different, how much time you've spent. And it's been over a 2-year time. And I added to that when we talk about walking the walk, whether it's fitness or business, I think it's so important to understand that the mundane, boring, just monotonous work that you put in, whether it's just showing up to the gym every day, showing up and making your phone calls every day, it produces results over a long period of time. Everybody in this world right now is looking for instant gratification. So if you're out there and you are thinking about getting your real estate license, everybody's telling you not to. If you are an overachiever that's willing to absolutely play for the long game and do the mundane stuff, willing to be coached, I think you can 100% be successful in this market. My son, 18 right now, is foregoing college
because
he's got his
nose to the grindstone.
Just got approved to take a state exam. He's 50% through the course. I'm super excited, and knowing him and what being around real estate is great. But like I told him, it's going to be just showing up every day, educating yourself, and really the predictability of what system we have here. He will be fine, not because he's my son, just because he's going to do the mundane stuff every day. So it's not just the sky is falling, or if you ever did dream about a career in real estate, it's just so important to pick the right firm that you're going to work with.
Sure.
Because right now it's as hard as it's ever.
Well,
gonna
and
get.
you brought up a good point. I mean, using using a coach, right? I mean, that's why people have a trainer, is because it's really hard for them to skip out. I mean, that's what this whole thing is. It's accountability.
That's it.
And it's really hard to get to 300 workouts without doing 300 workouts. Yeah. There's just no way you'd be like, hey, how do I do 300 workouts in 30 days? You don't, dude. You just don't. There's no shortcuts. Some things you just can't shortcut. Now, speaking on shortcuts, if you could take one shortcut from when you got your license in real estate to now, what would be a shortcut you would take?
100%. I would have joined a team, and I would have somebody that would have provide opportunity. It was so funny. I was talking to Tom Ferry. He's like, we got to do this case study. I was like, you should do a case study on why everybody should join a team right now.
Right.
Because without opportunity in this market, and people, whether it's, back in the day, you used to have like 20 to 25 people in your database that were going to buy in the next year. I would argue that needs to be at 75 to 100, just because, just one situational life change right now could pull somebody out of a buyer or seller pool. And with that kind of, uncertainty, you just your numbers have to go up.
For sure.
So people like us that have just this crazy amount of opportunity, it's crazy amount of coaching, crazy amount of accountability. Not everybody loves accountability, and I understand that, but like everybody that understands what accountability gets to, and if they're attached to something on their goals and what they want, it's the people that are unattached that don't like accountability. Like I understand, like if I work really hard and my goal is to do this, my outcome is this. So I'm at 100% attached to that outcome. And so that shortcut of being able to work with buyers instantly within the first 2 weeks after I get through training, buyers having, leadership that are constantly helping you navigate deals, structure deals, help you have those conversations on the phone that you might not have ever had. I mean, I'm watching agents that have just joined our firm that have been in real estate 2, 3, 4 years that are kind of like almost relearning what it's like to, to navigate this market.
Yeah.
And so I would argue that it's, we're on this like level playing surface.
Yeah. I mean,
right
you
now.
brought up a good point, right? You used to be able to have 25 people in your system, and all 25 people were going to buy because that's the way it was. It was just like, hey, like, if you find something, let me know. You
got to win a multiple offer like one of these times.
Right. Exactly. But now that's not the case, right? You totally have to, double, triple your client list, because like you said, just one small situational change could completely remove somebody. And the opportunities at that point, don't matter whether something does or doesn't come on the market. They're not ready. But as you were talking, I was thinking so if you've tried all these things, you tried marketing, I've tried this, I've tried that, none of that works. You probably haven't tried accountability. Yeah. I would probably say, have you tried accountability? Have you tried coaching? Have you tried having somebody hold you accountable to the things you say? And I think that's a huge thing that nobody considers. They always think they have to have the best this or the newest this or the lead magnet or presentation or Canva hack or coffees and contracts or any of this stuff. It's like, have you ever just tried working with somebody who's going to hold you to the things you say you are going to do or want to do?
And meet you where you are. I think it's so crazy to me right now that if I wanted to be successful in real estate, like that the conversation isn't being had at this moment. If you're struggling in real estate, here's why. Right now, I would argue that we have the best leadership on the planet. When I say best leadership on the planet, they are actually like diving in and helping our agents talk about the deals, structure the deals. And when I talk about structure the deals, I'm talking about like bouncing ideas back and forth to each other. Our broker of records sometimes getting on the phone with them. Sean's getting on the phone. Brett's working with all of them and their customers. So as a customer and consumer, like they are getting this firepower of 4 sensational leaders structuring their deal to help them win on the buy side or sell side. Not only that, that agent is getting that sensational leadership to help them win and get paid and keep that deal together.
Right.
And I don't think we talk about that enough in our industry of like how hard it is actually we can talk about leads. We can talk about lead magnets. We can talk about, your phone ringing. Like that's like 15% of it. Then you got to get somebody to write the deal. Then you got to get the deal executed. Then you got to get the deal to the finish line. I mean,
and you got to get it won, right?
Like, and then
offers. Yeah.
It's like, XYZ offers the greatest training in the world. Like the greatest training in the world isn't going to, I'm sorry, a classroom's not going to teach you
transacting real
and
estate.
navigate what's about to happen. if you're a new agent or you're an experienced agent in this market, and with over like 240 pending right now, this isn't like, I only say that to say, hey, we are navigating this market really well.
Right.
And stability in this world, I think, is the most important thing that you can have to help yourself sleep at night, to help your family, just feel really good about being in this industry. So I can't stress that enough, that if you are, whether you're watching this in North Florida, outside of North Florida, like, find some really strong leadership out there, somebody that's actually hitting this market head on.
Right.
We have restructured everything. We are back at, we have our leaders like in the office working, just tirelessly helping our agents. I'm so proud of our agents right now. I'm so proud of our leadership, this camaraderie that we have. It's never felt better. I'm like fired up
about it.
Fired up.
No, I mean, you're totally right. Everybody, they're trying all these things. We published a story, it's got to be a month or so ago now, about, a side-by-side comparison on an agent who would sell 10 homes here in the first quarter versus selling 2 homes somewhere else. And that paycheck's got to hit different, man. Like, if you have a family and you're here and you're selling 10 houses, you're living a lifestyle, you've painted, a lifestyle with a brush, and then you try and have the same thing, but you're like, I don't even want to.
Sad. I mean,
I don't even want to think about the stress that puts on your family.
Everyone wants to talk about the stress of accountability. Like, the stress of money is like the hardest thing in the world, and it sucks. And like, everyone's like, when we have people come or leave and aren't successful, like, it breaks my heart. Like, and I think Lindsey does a really good job talking about this on social media. Like, people are actually recruiting somebody that are in a really good, successful environment and striving and buying investment properties, buying houses.
Because it benefits them, not the person.
It's the most selfish thing in the world. Like, and we tell people, like, if you're successful in your current brokerage, like, stay there, don't leave. Like, why are you going to go chase, why are you going to go chase the next, the grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Like, on record, like, if you're having a successful year and you are happy with the amount of income you're making, stay at your brokerage. That's awesome.
What's the change?
What are you looking to do?
Right.
And I think that, unfortunately, like, we look at it from a different perspective of, like, my goal and our dream is to help as many customers buy and sell real estate as possible, and help as many agents sell as many houses, and help as many consumers as possible. And if you bring those two things together, like, it's fun and it's rewarding, and that's all we want to do. So when people, do leave and I see that, and it's like, I mean, it's heartbreaking. We don't put, we post that to just hopefully educate the agents out there that everybody doesn't always have their best interest in mind. And though times will get hard, and accountability is hard, and accountability over time is definitely hard. But I say it all the time, like, this is why you got in real estate. And unfortunately, if you don't like this being the phone, the chances of you being successful are probably less than 3%.
Yeah.
Like, and us having the system in place for a 3-week agent or a 15-year agent, mm-hmm. like, it all boils down to what conversations we're having on the phone, and how good are we having them, and how often we're having them.
Right.
And I think that stability and consistency is why, you look around, and if you look at our staff, the tenure of everybody we have here is because we have probably the most stable environment as a brokerage.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And as to wrap up, because you made such a good point, is that no matter if you're just starting or you've been, a veteran for 10 plus years, it's you do the same things. Mm-hmm. You're not doing, you've been in real estate 10 years, I've been in for 3 weeks. We're doing 2 separate things. Yeah. We're still talking to people. We're still making phone calls. We're still showing houses. We're still going on listing appointments. It's all the same things. It's some people try and figure out, well, how do I not do those little mundane, stupid little things? It's like, no. You realize those little things are what allow you to do the big things.
Yeah.
You can't not do the little things and do the big things. It doesn't exist, right? There's no such thing as, like, let's even quickly, as we wrap up, is the roast of Tom Brady that just occurred on Netflix. All those people on stage aren't people that you've never heard before. They've all done things before this. They even joke about Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Nikki Glaser had a great line.
Dude,
Did you know that?
awesome.
Yeah, she crushed. But do you know that Kevin Hart wakes up every morning at 4 a.m. to do a shitty movie?
Yeah.
And it's like those shitty movies are what made him Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Right now he can play stadiums. He's selling out stadiums. He's a huge international superstar. But I mean, think about like he did Scream. He did all these other little movies, right? To get to that point. He didn't just be like, you know what, I'm going to be a stand-up comedian. Somebody get me a stadium and then let's pack it with people.
Yeah.
You have to do all the little things in order to be able to do the big things. And I think people, it's so easy for somebody else to say, oh, you don't need to do those. Oh, you don't need to do that stuff. Like, yeah, how A, it's homework, and B, that sets up the opportunity.
Yeah. And everybody talks about, you know, and I think it's important to talk, you know, I like to talk about doing the mundane and doing all of these things and accountability and what that provides. For 18 years, since I got my license on the first day, I've always been the first one to unlock the door at every office that I've ever worked at. And for 18 years, and some would say like, that's ridiculous. And do I go on vacations? Absolutely. But when I'm here and I'm like, I'm working,
Focus.
like this year, I have been the one that opens the office door every day. And that's not anything else, but I am trying to make sure I outwork everybody, that I am seeing this crystal ball. This isn't like some sort of joke. You don't like wake up and be like, oh, this is a great idea. Like it's tedious hours and hours and hours and hours of work, because the responsibility of employees and agents is like, I live for that.
Yeah.
You know, Tom Brady lived to win. You know, I want to win in this market when everybody's saying it's like really difficult and you can't do this, you can't grow. Like we're absolutely going to grow. Next year we're going to grow. The year after we're going to grow. And it's just from that just, you know, that stability of certainty of showing up every day and just doing the work.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, we're super thankful, you know, for all this. I mean, so first inaugural podcast in the brand new bank inside the vault. We're going to be doing some little changes here and there as we get, you know, new microphone covers, we get new stuff on the wall. You know, we're still checking this out. But I mean, the facility here is incredible. I don't know if you follow us at all on social media. You're probably watching some of this on social media, but look at some of the pictures from the bank. We're going to be posting more pictures soon as we kind of like round out the little details. But it's just absolutely remarkable. And it all stems from, obviously, you and Lindsey working incredibly hard, agents working incredibly hard, and everybody in this simple understanding that this industry is fun to work in if you have the proper things in place and you actually know how to go about your business versus just chasing whatever the next fad is.
Yeah. We're not trying to figure it out. We have it figured out.
Pretty figured out.
We're exciting.
We're inside of a bank.
And I know Todd took my congratulations on the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I honestly didn't realize it was like as big of a deal as it is. Like,
dude, you hung out with Guy Fieri, huh?
So I did, quick story, and then we'll wrap up. So my brother's in liquor sales. You've met him on this podcast before, but I went to the school. We did a Q&A. We talked to the seniors on stage. It was incredible. But we get a text in my family group from my brother, and he's like, "Hey, what's it like the family's plans later?" Because my sister and I were both home. And we're just like, no plans. Like, we're just kind of like going to hang out and do dinner. He's like, okay, well,
talk about how good I am at baseball.
Yeah. Well, so one of my accounts, my brother's saying this, he's like, one of my accounts is having a meet and greet with, Guy Fieri. And like, do you guys want to go? And I was just like, yeah, like, why not? So we go there, Boost Beverage. They were the people holding the event. And he was filming 3 episodes of Triple D in the area and swung through. He just lost Santo Tequila. I should have worn my Santo Tequila hat, but we get there and John, you know, the rep there, hands me a hat and he's like, "Hey, you know, this is if you don't have anything you want Guy to sign." You get there, the dude rolls in, coolest dude ever, takes a rip of his new tequila, Santo Tequila, and it was just a really great time. And he's just as energetic and a ball of energy as you see him on the show. So it was a super cool experience, a great time home. But yeah, it was just like a whirlwind of 72 hours of bonanza.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was wild. But anyway, first inaugural podcast. Love this. Thank you guys for watching. This podcast is sponsored by Audible. Audible is a great way to listen to books instead of read them because it's really hard to read in the car unless you have one of the new Teslas that DJ bought for some of our agents to use. So don't read in the car. Listen to Audible. You can try our link in the description below, or I think it's tryaudible.com/DJ&Lindsey. But dude, thank you again. It's great. Man. Always great chatting with you. We'll catch back up with you again in the vault later.
See ya.
Later. So it's so funny.
Maybe cut out where I live. I don't want